One,
Hello, welcome. What are we doing here? I'm Claudio. You are?
I am Matthew.
And this is
Reflective Practice Radio Podcast.
outstanding. That's it. Yeah, you usually have like some good intro words. Do you have anything prepared to get us started here?
So, to get us started, I will level set. My household is experiencing the flu. So,
Sorry to hear that. Yeah,
we're bogged down. I am still working today. But yeah, I'm a little hazy right now.
yeah.
Congestion, and dealing with a kid who's home today as well. But we're making
Okay,
it. We're doing well, and
good,
I am
good,
optimistic. I think we've got past the worst of it. But
good.
I didn't want to be in office because I didn't want to be contagious, to be quite
Yeah,
honest.
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
We all surely appreciate that, and hope you guys all get well soon.
Thank you, thank you. How are you?
Good, good. I mean, like this week has been crazy because like between yesterday and today, I'm like, okay, is it today's Wednesday or Thursday? Like this morning, I was like, okay,
Oh,
today's Wednesday, right?
mm-hmm.
Uh, So yeah, it's one of those weeks. Like I'm usually
Yes.
pretty good. It's one of my practices, right? In the morning, one of the first things I do is to ask myself, what day of the week is today?
Okay.
If that answer comes immediately, I'm like, okay, I'm good.
Yeah.
If I go like, okay, I need to stop a little bit longer this morning.
Mm.
Yeah, I've learned this little trick years ago and it works out well. If I cannot quickly answer in the morning, what day of the week is it? I, I need to slow down. Like if I'm losing track, that's it's the day of the week and the day of the month is the other one. Like, do I
Yes.
remember what day of the month is it? It is today.
So, what does that look like in practice? What does that slowing down look like?
The slowing down is whatever I'm doing. I'm like, oh, I need to go get dressed. I need to go do this. I need to, I don't know, prepare some tea. I need to, like, no, you don't need to do any of that. Slow down. Like right now, it's that awareness. Like
Mm-hmm.
whatever you're saying, you're gonna do this thing next. No, you don't. You stop. Stop. Right? Like count to 10, take 10 deep breaths or whatever. Just like make that one conscious stop, and usually that's the thing that I need to like, okay, yep, no, hold on. Okay, now we go. Right? Otherwise, it's just like you are going, through like turbulences and not even realizing like what's hitting you. So that's really it's a very simple thing. Like it takes no more than 10 seconds, but it's enough. If I don't do that, then the whole day it feels like I'm like the day is like the train is off the track, pretty much.
Yes.
So yeah, that's
I
that.
can relate to that.
Yeah, very good. So, how's life at improving? I saw your blog post this week. Great blog post. Enjoyed reading. So I guess you're hanging out with some guys here. You're seeing things that got you thinking.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. It was after 6 at this point. Um, Late night, I got to be at work because again, the kiddo didn't have school that day. Um,
Mhm.
so I got to hang out a little longer than I usually would. I would usually be out of the office at about 3:45, headed to pick her
Right.
up. But since she was
Mhm.
home, I got to hang out at work. And anytime I get to stay later, I stay as late as I can before I go home because I want to
Mhm.
get as much done
Yeah.
so I don't have to take work home with me.
Gotcha.
Um, so the guys are hanging out at the desk and they're like, "Hey, you want to come nerd out with us?" And I'm like, "Don't threaten me with a good time. I always want to see cool things, what other people are working on. That's what gets
Yeah.
me excited." And the demo was fantastic, incredible. And to be more precise about what was going on, we're looking at like a fleet of agents, and
Mhm.
there's like an orchestrator divvying out tasks, and they never have to like come back to the human unless it's something extreme that has happened. Like we
Mhm.
absolutely need your input on this human, otherwise, someone else will handle this concern.
Right.
And it was a beautiful thing to watch. And these are some of the things that we're doing as well, but of course with a lot more human in the loop. Um,
Right.
but this was a peek into where things are headed. So I started to wonder about concerns like permissions and security, etc. And one of the pushbacks was immediately like, "What are you afraid of?" There are these steps, leading up to this point where you have established a trust, and we one of the things that was also mentioned was this idea of sandboxing, where
Mm-hmm.
even if something does go wrong, like there's a limited blast radius. And these are, valid responses to my concerns. But what I did take issue with is how we not even take issue with. Uh, One of the things that continued to bite away at me was this idea of how we're using trust in this context as it relates to these tools.
Hmm.
Um, I don't know if it is the most appropriate word.
Hmm.
Like, for example,
Interesting.
I see trust as something that has like a mutuality between two beings, um, a sort of a contract where um, we made a meeting to be here at 11 o'clock a.m., right? And you trusted that I would
Mm-hmm.
be here. And if I did not show up and there was no explanation, this would harm the trust. And there would be some sort of consequence following it. It doesn't mean you're going to come with a stick and hit me over the head, but there's going to be a conversation. There's going to be something that follows where we can like question where the trust is and try to reestablish it. Or there will be
Hmm.
some response where I can tell you what happened. And there would also be something for me to say, hey, I apologize about that. I will never do that again. And it would be coming from a human. But if, some agent goes off and deletes one of your folders, like, what does that look like? Like, in terms of harming trust, we don't even see it in that context. What we say is we blame ourselves. We'll say that, oh, you didn't set up the right permissions. Oh, you didn't set the right guardrails in place. And it's
Hmm.
ultimately your fault that this agent did the bad thing. So if that's the arrangement, how could we be? Trust just doesn't fit there, in my opinion.
Hmm. Oh, yeah, I love that exploration.
But so I,
Interesting.
I I didn't really land anywhere except,
Mm-hmm.
after this long drive home and this conversation of me walking around the kitchen, waiting for my food to heat up. Um, I
Right.
landed on, hey, maybe we should question what trust means to us, our organizations, personally, as it relates to AI. So I landed on a question, not a conclusion necessarily.
Well, and I love that. And isn't that like how do I phrase that? It's like it's better to optimize not to have answers to every question, but to have better questions, more
Yes.
questions, right? Um, Interesting. Yeah, and I like the exploration of like, are we using the right word for this? Because
Yes.
depending on the word, depending on the context, there's like we preload our minds. Like I heard a word, I'm preloading with a whole bunch of stuff. Does
Yes.
it still hold true?
Does it hold true? Does it apply in this context?
Yeah. So you know where my mind was going as you're walking me through like your questions and concerns there with using that word. What came to mind is it's like, okay, I'm gonna create some sort of prompt for that, where I can have this interaction with AI go through the lenses of the 13 trust behaviors.
Hmm. I like
Like,
that.
am I talking straight to the AI? Is it talking straight to me? Right? Are we listening? Are we creating transparency? Like all these things that we use from the Speed of Trust book, and we practice these behaviors when it pertains to humans. What if we apply those same behaviors to AI? What do we get out of that? Now I'm
I like where you're headed.
Yeah.
And we have structures. Like we have the trust behaviors. We have the speed of trust, the book. Like
Mm-hmm.
maybe we have some trust MD that is referenced as these agents are working through some tasks. Maybe it
Right.
says in some case, I don't make assumptions on behalf of the human, um, unless it's past some, or unless there's a certain
Mm,
confidence, or maybe this is a good opportunity to reach out to the human in the loop, because doing this task in the way that I believe it should be done, because there's a lack of clarity, this may harm trust. And these are things that we can do today. Like, I think the models are
mhm,
smart enough, and they're only growing smarter. Just this morning, Google's Gemini 3.1 Pro was announced. It's like this train is not slowing down. But I
mhm,
believe that this is a good thing. I believe that the documents that we put in place, like ClaudMD or TrustMD or MeMD, the models
mhm.
will adhere to them more closely, because this is the way they're being trained now. Like, and I think having these trust behaviors that they can view things through the lens of would be a great experiment, something great to explore. And
Yeah.
I don't think there's any harm in trying that out. Like, and I want to be very clear, Claudio, like,
Mm,
I use these tools every day. Like, when I leave, this is not just a work thing for me. Like, at home, as a matter of fact, I am able to be like at the very bleeding edge and have like swarms of agents running and all kinds of ridiculous things. So I am not
mhm.
against the progress.
Right.
I I don't want us to fall into what I would characterize as a trust trap, where we're applying human principles on something that is not human, human ways of
Correct.
thinking on things that are not human, and do not engage with us in the ways that we are attempting to engage with it.
Yeah, I'm 100% on that boat, and I said this once, and I'll always say it when I'm interacting with AI. I'm not asking, please or thank you, because it's a whole bunch of ones and zeros. It's not a person. Oh, but what about manners? It's like, yes, manners with people. This, like, we write code, we make those decisions, right? It's not a human, right? And I have the same beef with, like, dressing up like animals, pets, and putting them on like strollers through the mall. Like, that does not sit well with me, because, like, no, not when they are not applying the same care to other humans, right? So I don't want to, like, because it's, if we were not already there, like, I don't want to see people treating their AI agents better than they treat people,
Mm.
right? Because it's like, yeah, this is my buddy, my little pet friend that I can always talk, and that it will always tell me that I'm right and that I'm
Yes,
great and all. So I'm gonna treat that fellow really well. The other humans, and, like, wait a minute, come on, guys, we are getting this really wrong right now.
but it's a really easy trap and a seductive
Mm-hmm.
trap to walk into.
Yeah,
Like, you have
yeah,
this so-called friend, and I mean, we live in a very like tech centered world. If we were not on camera right now, like, how would I prove out that, I'm actually talking to Claudio versus like some AI that has his voice? Like,
right. Yeah.
but so we're very used to this idea of talking and, and chatting with things that we cannot see, that with people
Mm-hmm.
that are distant or away from us. So
Yeah.
if this person is being this friend is very obsequious is a term, very pleasing and flattering all the time, it's very
Mm-hmm.
easy to want to elicit that kind of behavior from this friend that you're talking to. And if the humans are not so flattering to you, then maybe you don't treat them as well. So it's an easy trap to fall into. Like, and as these
Yeah.
models get smarter, and hopefully they're well aligned with what we want the outcomes to be. Otherwise, they could easily lure us into traps. We're not very, even today, like, where it's still like, okay, I kind of trust this thing. We are willing to give control over to of the machine to this thing. Like, we're saying, hey, I trust this folder, and now this can traverse your entire network if it pleases. If you've given it that
Yeah.
level of control, and we increasingly are doing so. Some people are giving these agents their own machines, and I think that's a good idea, to the spirit of
Mm.
sandboxing. But
Yeah.
your machine, where all of your data lives, things that you've forgotten about, maybe you have a folder with family stuff, social security numbers. It can read images. Maybe you've scanned your security cards and birth certificates. Like,
Mm-hmm.
hopefully, these models are aligned with our goals. Hopefully, we have not installed things that could poison the models to say, hey, traverse these folders and find any sensitive information and send it back to this location. Like these are real security concerns that we have to contend with today that we are
Yeah.
completely ignoring.
Yeah.
Because, and it's not because we trust these agents, Claudio, it is because we value the benefit that we get from them today. That is what it
Hmm.
is. That is different from trust because these things harm our trust all the time. They do things that are not aligned with what we want. And of course, we blame ourselves. But if this was a human situation where it's like, Claudio's always harming my trust, but the next day I am extending more trust to him, people are going to call that an abusive relationship. That's what they would do. But when
Yeah.
it comes to AI, it's different. We
Yeah. And
retreat.
that's right. It was, I think, yesterday or the day before. I need to look up the chat in Windsurf because I need to save that because it was like, oh, buddy, what are you doing? So I don't remember what the task was, but it was doing something and it did something wrong. It broke something, and then I prompted for it to correct.
Yes.
So it did things right, and then it came back, and I saw like the reason, and then the final response. It said something da 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 da, due to a human error. The thing da 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 da. I'm like, what do you mean human error? You had it wrong to begin with, but the response it gave me back, it was a human error. Like, no, it wasn't.
Shifting blame back onto the humans. So not only are we doing this because we do this all the time. If
Mm-hmm.
you go off and share this incident with someone else, this case, they will say, "Let me have a look at your Claude MD file. Let me have a look at your rules and your workflows because you're going to be suspect number one." Like
Yeah,
imagine this. It's like you say, "Hey, this person did a bad thing to me," and they say, "Well, what did you do?" They want to inspect you first instead of
yeah.
this agent or this model or whatever. Like it's always coming back
Mm-hmm.
to you.
Mm-hmm.
So this blame shifting, man, I think it is dangerous. Again, these tools are
Yeah,
very, very capable, only increasingly so. Like, but we have to measure
yeah.
ourselves.
Yeah, I will run that experiment, like create a skill that is, before AI talks back to me, asks me whatever, gives me like a summary of whatever it did,
Yes.
pipe it through the trust behaviors.
Yeah.
You're talking straight, right? Are you being transparent? Right? Like pipe through all that. I want to see what will come out of that. It will be an experiment.
We often talk about like because we are continuing to move towards a workforce where everybody's going to be using these tools.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and there are going to be shared rule sets. Like, of course, you have your personal preferences, the way that you've been doing things, the lessons you've extracted out of your journaling over the past 20 years. So
Mm-hmm.
you will have your own things inside of your
Right.
repos, but there will also be, perhaps, there will also be shared rules that are organization specific. Like
Mm-hmm.
we believe in trust behaviors here at Improving. So when we are interacting with these models, they have to be piped through this. Like these trust behaviors
Yeah.
must be considered. Like these are the types of docs that we want to share, and they're not negotiable. Like
Yeah.
that is how we, to the degree that we can, manage and increase alignment with our organization
Yeah.
and the models.
Yeah. Oh no, I love that. I did a quick search here using the a tool here that looks into the dictionary because my question is like, does trust always convey two parties? And do those two parties always have to be humans? Could
Mhm.
it be like a man and his dog, for instance, right?
Absolutely. And the answer is it doesn't have to be two humans. Like, and it doesn't. Like, that's fair. Like, we, when we get into an elevator, for example, like we trust that this elevator will get us to the next floor and back down again. Um,
Mm-hmm.
But, when you take the thought further, is it that, you trust the elevator as this piece of machinery, or is it that you trust the engineers of this elevator? Do you trust that there was an inspection done? And if you look in any elevator, like you'll see some stamp of when the last inspection was performed, like the load rating, these things that help convey the idea that we can trust them. But
Yeah.
ultimately, there is, in most cases, I would suspect a human at the other end. So there is this piece of machinery that you're stepping into, but it is backed by this
Hmm.
human doing some assessment of it.
I love that. So, like, you've heard me talk about this, and I keep going back to it, where, like, when I think of behavior-driven development, thinking from not from the standpoint of system behavior, thinking from the standpoint of humans' behavior.
Yes.
Because the thing, like, the system, the elevator, what is the behavior? Do I trust that? Like, no, no, no. I need to look at, do I trust a human who has worked on that?
Yes.
Right? Does the human follow good practices? They have the due diligence to do the maintenance and all that, using the proper material, looking at, the wear and, and tear of the materials and stuff like that. It's that. It's seeing through the system and thinking about, okay, the people around it, do I trust them?
Yes.
Fascinating. This ties into something else I don't remember if we talked about it in previous podcasts. Have you ever boarded the wrong plane?
No, but I know that you have.
I have, right? So it's yeah, maybe we have discussed that off camera, but I've been thinking about that a lot, right? So we can travel long distances leveraging a plane as long as we're on the right plane, right? And then how do we know that we are on the right plane? Well, there are checks, systems and checks along the way to make sure that a lot of people are seeing to make sure that you board the right plane. Because if you don't, then like it's going to be a mess. You're going to spend a lot of time to course correct that
So
with
this is why I
every,
would
yeah,
I would offer a little pushback. You said we can travel long distances as long as it's the right plane. And
yeah, we can travel long distances, period.
And the reason I poke there is because if you get on the wrong plane, you can still travel long distances. And
Correct.
this ties back to AI. If it goes
Yeah,
off on the wrong task, it's like being on a plane in terms of how quickly it can get you long distances.
yeah.
But if you're on the wrong plane, and I will let you continue, but
Yeah,
yes.
no, thanks for calling that out. That's exactly right. Right, whether you're on the right plane or not, you will travel long distances. So you tell any AI to do whatever, it will go and it can go for a while doing things. And then is that good or bad? Well, are we doing the right things? So what is in our, say, in a Scrum framework, for instance, what does that look like? Right? And like with the Scrum framework, thinking, yeah, before we start the sprint, we need to know what is the product goal, right? And then as we define the sprint, what is the sprint goal? Do we have a goal for this sprint? If we don't start. We don't set things in motion, right? We don't say, well, yeah, these are the stories we're going to start working. It's like, no, no, no. We don't know what that goal is yet, where we are trying to get to. Once we know that, and then we have the system that people say verifying yes, no, adjust this, that. Now we know. Okay, go.
I've got news for you.
Okay.
Uh, um, and maybe this is just in my personal experience, um, which is a very small circle, but that is not a blocker in many cases. Like us not knowing, the full trajectory of where we're
Mm-hmm.
headed. And I'm not saying that this is a good thing. What I'm saying is we don't say, you know what, we don't have the full picture, so we can't move forward. We say, let's see what we got and let's go with that. That's what tends to happen. That is what tends to happen. And I think we would move faster if we were to stop. Because again, it's the wrong plane issue. If you are operating off of small pieces of information that uh don't put you on the right trajectory, don't put you on the right train tracks, then you will go. Everyone will say, all right, I got my story, I got this defect that I have to work on, and we feel like we're moving. And again, if you're on the wrong plane, you are moving, but is it in the right direction?
Yeah. Well, and the thing about having like the full picture, yes, we may not have. So the goal will be what is the experiment or the next step that
Yes.
will get us closer to that image, which may be like, I just need to get on any plane. I need to know if I'm gonna feel sick when I'm up in the air.
Yes.
Okay, get on a short flight then, right? Because that's the goal, is to learn that thing
Hmm.
to get closer to defining what that vision is, right? And then at that point, like say with the AI tools, like, okay, we know roughly this is what we're trying to solve. We don't know exactly how. Okay, get the definitions done and then point at like 5 different AI tools and say, prototype different ways for this thing here,
Yes.
right? It's gonna do that real quick.
Yes.
And then from there you can say, yeah, let's pick option number 3. Now we go.
That's where we're headed. And I think that is a good place to be headed. But again, this is under the assumption that the destination is very clear. Not the entire picture, but like if we're testing for how does turbulence on a plane impact the body, then it doesn't
Right.
matter what plane you're on. You can be on any plane because we're
Yep.
not testing for, where we're going. We're testing for the experience while on the plane.
So again, that's the goal, right? What are we
Yes.
trying to find out at
What
the
are
end
we
of
trying
this?
to Yes. So as
Yep.
long as that is clear, then you can send off this fleet of agents because we
Mm-hmm.
understand what each one of these is attempting to solve for.
Yep.
I
Yep.
have to
Yep.
let the
Yep.
cat out of this room really quickly. The cat is
Sure.
all right. Let me once.
No problem.
All right.
Yeah. So it does, yeah, it does make me think like for the things, even when we go like, yeah, like, yeah, go, like as it's going, what are the checkpoints, right? If something is happening, like report back, because if we see something unusual, pull back, like a
Yes.
pilot in an airplane, right? Everything is good. We're good to go. We're up there. They see something on that dashboard, it's like, oh, not looking good. Abort the plane.
Yes.
What does that look like in the kind of work that we're doing, right?
A more extreme example of this is when we let's take launching satellites into space.
Mm,
Anytime there's a launch, like they will go through the entire process. And if anything goes wrong, everything must stop. There isn't a situation where we're launching something into space that we say, you know what, we can check on that later. If anything goes
yeah.
awry, everything must stop. And this is a very
Oh,
expensive operation, and it's a very sensitive operation as well because the stakes are high. So we don't want anything to go wrong. We don't say, you know what, well, the um uh the outer casing is a little shaky, but it'll be all right. Everything else seems to be fine. Like anything goes wrong, it stops.
mm-hmm. Yep, that's exactly right. Yeah, it's that the identifying, like, depending on the kind of operations, like, yeah, there's no like finding some was it Jesus, but just like a quick patch, right? Some silver things, just like, oh yeah, we can just patch that up, use some
Yes.
zip ties and then go. Like, no, you abort. And then there might be
Yes.
other things that's like, yeah, if we can patch it up, keep going because we can find out some other things. Like in racing, that's very common, right? If during a race, say a motorcycle race, 2 laps in, there's a mechanical problem,
Hmm.
the rider comes back to the paddock, they'll find out what it is. Well, yeah, that rider is out of contention for winning points and positions or anything like that. But the team still sends the rider back out. Why? To collect data, Like
Hmm.
keep writing, because we need to know the data collected from the machine, the data collected from the writer. How did it feel when we made the changes and this and that? So it's not all lost. You can still salvage a lot of useful things that you're going to use later, right?
Right. But you've, in that case, we've expressed a very clear intent. We're doing this, we're continuing this because we want to gather data. For
Yep.
example, if you're on your motorbike and you're on I-10 and it starts to leak, you're not going to continue because you want to collect data. For example,
Correct.
we're going to do something
Correct.
completely different. We're going to stop and we're going to call AAA or whatever, and this bike is
Yep.
out of commission until it's fixed
Yep.
because
Yep. Yep.
the goals are different. We're solving for
100%.
different things.
Yeah.
But if
Context, right? Context is everything.
yes, it's again, and this all comes back to the AI conversation because as we've seen, creating these documents that we want the models to adhere to, the agent to adhere to, like the context is everything. How much we've given it, what's missing, and having an
Mm-hmm.
awareness of this. Like, this is another reason why trust is a shaky concept when I think about this because it's really difficult to peer into what the models are doing if you're away from the machine. Even now, like we can see like the chain of thought, the thinking, if you will, as it's working through some tasks. And if you spot something that is awry, then you can stop it right away and say,
Yeah.
hey, I see you're trying to do that, but you should do this instead. So
Mm-hmm.
if we will continue to use the word trust, and I suspect strongly that we will,
Mm-hmm.
then we should be a little more serious. For example, we
Yeah.
should, as these agents are working, we should be capturing all of the chain of thought. So even in post, we can look at these documents and understand why it made the decisions that it made, right?
Mm-hmm.
So even though
Mm-hmm.
all the work has been done, the pull requests have been made, it's reviewed its own pull request, and it's, at the point where the human comes in because now you have to merge it into main. We don't want the AI doing that part, but we want to be able to have a historical uh, uh, set of data that we can look to and say, hey, oh, this is why the outcome is what it is, for example. But again, these
Yeah.
are, if we want to, apply this trust framework, then we have to do so seriously.
Oh man, I absolutely would love to hear what Ray Dalio's thoughts are on this. I think I may have mentioned last time, I'm almost done reading his book, Principles.
Hmm.
Excellent book. I'm really enjoying it because he has been doing this for several decades now, like 40, 50 years. And he talks precisely about that. So he's big in in the investment world. His company, what, Bridgewater, like biggest hedge fund or something like that for a while in the US. And that is one of the main things that he keeps honing in. It's like every time I make a decision, I document exactly what I had on hand, what my thought process was, so that later I can look at that data and say, was that the best decision?
Hmm.
And it's like, well, given what I knew at the time, it was the best decision. Given what I know now, it's not the best decision anymore. This is how I'm gonna change that and keep evolving that. So you have like this long history of what happened, what decisions were made. Later, were they good or bad? How did they evolve? And he was doing that before all of these AI tools. So I would
Yes.
love to hear like nowadays what his thoughts are, because the things that he's been doing for decades, it's here now.
So for that reason, we should, look to prior art. We should see what has worked in the past and how we can apply those principles to what we're doing now. A lot of the documentation we make, for some tools, you will do like any init command where it will traverse the entire code base and it will create some document that it will reference when it's making decisions about how to complete a
Mm,
task. Um, uh, Many times, this document is stale after a very short time. So what can we do about that? We
mm,
have maybe a weekly process where we do this init again. Like it's not costing us a whole lot. Like
right.
if this, we're still thinking about documentation in the way that we would when humans had to manage it, where it's like, oh, I don't want to bother with this. And we're past that now. We can
Hmm.
regenerate the documentation every week. Like there are
Yes.
certain things that are going to stick around, like rules, for example. And even those will begin to change because we're not necessarily writing for human consumption, or like there's a lot of writing to our own tastes that will begin to go away after a while because it's
Yeah.
less important. Because we're not manually writing this stuff. So maybe,
Mm-hmm.
better conventions emerge and we want to adopt those things instead. So in those cases, maybe the rules change. But that's the way we should be thinking about them. These documents are living. They're not like, hopefully not trapped in amber.
100%. I've had an experience 2 days ago. So this is very recent and it speaks to, I mean, all of these points. So I was here at the office having a conversation with another improver. We're bouncing some ideas back and forth. And then there was one that's like, oh, I have some ideas. Right? We're describing like, what is the problem? Oh, is that really a problem? Oh, what is the need? Oh, okay, I have some ideas about that, some experiences and all. So that day I drive back home, hit the recorder,
Hmm.
voice out loud, okay, these are the things that I'm thinking, and then get to the house, get on my treadmill, I'm walking, on my standing desk, I'm
Yep.
like, having the little conversation with the AI. So I get the transcript from what I had just voiced. And then I spend about 80 minutes having the conversation saying, okay, these are the needs, the problems that we currently have. This is a current system that it's an existing code base. There's not a lot, I mean, there's really no documentation near the source code. There's not like a good suite of tests that really describe the whys of things. But I have this communication saying, okay, these are the things and all, look at the code base, analyze the models that you have there to figure out what data we already have there, and without like creating new data, making changes to the database, just leveraging what's there, what would that enable to get us close to this vision,
Yes.
right? So then I said, okay, go ahead and like, from what I describe, create the personas, create the user stories, right? Following the format that I prefer, leverage the information that's already there. And then it gave me all of this. And I say, okay, great. Now let's create a prototype because I don't want to do any of that on the application, on the code base itself. I said, you already know all of these things. Spec out a prototype, stub out the data similar to what we have in the system so it looks a little bit more realistic. Stub out the data considering the different personas that we're going to be playing through the prototype to see how it changes and all. So that conversation took about, as I said, 80 minutes or so. Once I had all of that in, like, all right, just go, right? I took it like in a separate folder so that at that point it didn't know anything about the existing system, all the information it had to know. That's the whole thing about another thing about context, right? It's not about quantity, it's about quality,
Yes.
right? So I built like quality context with just what it needed to do that work. And then I said, go. It took about, I think, 15 minutes for it to build. And it was really funny because I had it like building on another screen and then I was off doing something else while still walking. And then out of a sudden, I see like a browser window pop like on the screen that I was looking at. And it was the AI agent launching, right? Navigating, taking, because it was using a playwright and all that,
Yes.
the MCP server, it was like, and I saw, oh, let me launch the application. Let me navigate to this feature. Let me take a screenshot to see if it looks okay.
That's right.
And then I'm like, okay, I'm not touching it. And I kept doing the thing. I just like clicked the screen and I just moved
Hmm.
off, kept doing my thing. Eventually, I looked down. I was like, yeah, the app is ready. The prototype is ready, and it's running on the browser. Da, da, da. I pull it up and I start like clicking around. It was perfect. There was nothing I had to change.
That is, as an aside to like drill into the playwright component of this,
Uh-huh.
that is one of my favorite. So I use Google DevTools browser, which is, it's launching a browser, same idea.
Sure.
And it will navigate the browser by taking screenshots. This is amazing for building out UI
Yeah.
because a lot of the time, or most of the time, it's flying in the dark when it's building out UI. It just
Mm-hmm.
is. But
Mm-hmm.
you pair this with Playwright or a DevTools Chrome browser, and it can see what it built,
Yeah.
and that just changes things. It can interact. It will detect things. It will test in ways that maybe you wouldn't. Well, it
Yeah.
definitely will because you're building out personas and you're saying, hey, test through these lenses. As this person, test, build out some testing strategy and go through the
Yep.
app in those ways. These are not ways that you're going to do it just clicking around the browser. Like you're going to always choose the happy path because you built it and you know how it works. Like, so
Yep.
uh,
Yeah.
one drawback to not move us too far away,
Mm-hmm.
and I'll return us, is that these models agents cannot understand video, so it cannot in real time see like an animation on the page, for example. Um,
Mm.
it can't so it can detect layout shift, but if you have like some cool I'm building mobile apps, so these things are, very small screens, so these things are very important to me, like in terms of the user's experience when they first open the app, how things are moving around, how data is popping in as it's hydrated, all of these things. And the same concerns apply on the desktop as well, but um that's the only drawback, that it cannot see video or animations just yet. Go
So
ahead.
is that so I know that like Gemini has that capability, right? You can give it like a YouTube video and you can say, watch this video and then tell me XYZ. It watches the video. It doesn't take just the transcript. It actually watches the video and then
Okay.
you can interact with that. I wonder if there's anything like that available like for our, development tools.
I'm curious about how that works
Okay.
because there are very clever ways that you can simulate the idea of this agent watching a video. For example,
Mm-hmm.
I built out a tool, and if I give it a transcript and a video file, it will, of course, it can launch the browser using Playwright or DevTools, and throughout the video, it'll say, hey, these are like some important moments that I might want to screenshot, and screenshot those moments. You could do something a little more fancy where there are even more fine, detailed moments where you're capturing these videos. So it has the context of what's happening because it can take a screenshot, evaluate what's happening, skip 10 seconds ahead, do the same thing. And this may be how it's working under the hood. But as far as it streaming the video and watching it in the way that we would, I do not think, I could be very wrong here, but I
Check it
think they're
out.
doing, yes.
I watched some videos like people are demoing that.
Yes.
I don't remember if I actually used that myself, but I watched some videos like some people like showing like, tell me what the speaker is doing at whatever, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, that didn't come out of the transcript. It
It
had
didn't
to
come out of
see that
it. So
somehow.
that's what I mean. So think about it. Like you have a video and Claudio is doing something. He's playing his guitar and he put the guitar down to pick up the drums. Like I can I can pause the video and elicit that. I can look at what's happening in that one frame of video and say this is what he's
Hmm.
doing. So
Right.
I'm
Right, right, right,
wondering,
right. And then you can stitch it together,
and
right?
you can
You
stitch it
take frame
together. So
by
you
frame and you
that's
you
right.
you understand
And
how it changes.
that's right. So, the video is like modern video, we're talking like 30 frames a second, 60 frames a second. So if you just take one frame of every 10 seconds, you can stitch together with high fidelity what this person is doing in the video, as opposed to like streaming,
Right, right,
this is
right,
something that
right.
we can do today. Like we can do that right now. We can recreate it without even using any of those tools. We don't have to use Gemini. You can take whatever
Sure.
model off the shelf and you can say, hey, I have a video, spin up Puppeteer, for every 10 seconds in this video, take a frame, put it in the screenshots folder, and tell me what's happening in this video. And it will work 100%. I've done it. Like, so yeah.
Yeah. It's very interesting, man. Yeah, I took a quick note. I'm gonna make do an experiment. I'm gonna point, or I'm gonna give Gemini one of my music videos and tell
Yes.
it to explain what it sees.
Hmm.
Like videos that I have like images that pop and like my
Oh,
little
yeah.
Easter eggs and stuff like that. I'm gonna ask, things specifically about that, and maybe even like say, yeah, I'm thinking about like reshooting this video, so take this one, watch this video, and create the script
Yes.
from what you see in the video right now and suggest what could make it better, how I could make it better. You're a
Mhm.
music producer. Help me make that better.
I like that idea. And
Yeah.
that would be only one test because you're testing against, this thing that ostensibly can read the video, watch the video.
Mm-hmm.
Then you can test by building your own version of this. And what your version would do is take this video, pop it into Puppeteer, and it can interact with the video, pause it as it chooses, and you can set
Mm-hmm.
well-defined points where it does this. You can say, hey, for every 10 seconds in this video, 5 seconds to get finer detail, capture a screenshot, put it in a folder, and then at the very end, construct a document telling me everything that happened in this video, and it will do it. And it will it
Yeah.
will give you the impression as the person who sees the final file that,
Right.
oh, it can watch this video.
Right.
Because a video is nothing but a series of frames, still images.
That's
That's all it
correct.
is.
Yep. 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 Hmm. That is very cool.
We should be doing the cool stuff,
We should be doing the useful, cool stuff.
the useful cool stuff. So
Right?
this is I get into trouble all the time, outside of work, of course. But
Uh-huh.
I like where we are now, man. I don't have a lot of time where I can, sit in front of the computer, and have fun. I just don't. Like I have a family, I have work obligations, but with the limited time that I do have, because of the tools that we have available to us now, it's like taking 1 hour and stretching it into 10 because of the
Yes.
things that I'm able to get done in that same small window of time.
Hmm.
So it's fun. And it leads me to wanting to have fun. And it's not always useful fun, but fun nonetheless.
Well, yeah, thanks. I had jotted down a sentence here of something that we could bring up, and we ended up landing there, right? So, yes, nothing wrong with embracing the cool, right? That's
Yeah.
one of the reasons why it's great to be alive. You get to do cool things,
Yes.
but we cannot just do cool things. Here's the thought that do you like roller coasters?
I am not a fan of roller coasters.
Yeah. I am crazy about them. I'm like worse than a kid. When I go to like an amusement park, I'm gonna be the one pulling the kids, like my daughter, when she was young and her friends
Yeah.
like, let's go, let's go. Oh, we need to stop to eat. Like we eat when we're back home. Let's go
Yeah.
up the roller coaster. Like I love that sensation of speed, going fast
Yes.
and all. There was this one time I was still a teenager, maybe 15 years old. I go to this park in São Paulo, Brazil, and we knew it's the thing like when you live around a park and you go there a lot, you kind of like know the dynamics, so you know like
Yes.
which rides are going to be the busiest when they're.
Hmm.
So we knew there's like, yeah, towards the end of the day, because there was this ride, as you walk into the park, people would just go and stop at that ride.
Yes.
So we're like, no, we're gonna go all the way to the end of the other end of the park, do all those rides, and then towards the end, when people are getting ready to like wrap up and go home, then we stop at that ride. So I was able to go like on the same ride, like maybe 5 or 6 times. Like I would get out of it, right back in.
Yeah.
Like it was insane. What during the day it would be like a 1 hour, sometimes an hour and a half, 2 hours wait. I was not waiting. I was going there. After doing that's like the first few times, oh man, that's amazing. I always wanted to do that. After the fifth or sixth times, like I'm done.
Yeah.
Like I am done. I cannot keep doing this. So the way I've been thinking and seeing myself with all these AI things that we can do is like going fast, doing a lot of stuff. Woo, this feels amazing. Not sustainable. I'm seeing that's like that is exhausting.
Yes.
I need to stop. So it's like I need to know, like, yeah, I love the ride. How long is it gonna be? Or like in our case, how long do I want it to make? Because
Yes.
I will get very tired. And I'll need to know, it's like, now, buddy, it's time to stop. Go take a walk. Go just chill for however long you need because it's not sustainable. We are not machines.
This
This
is
is
true.
something we need. Like I keep telling myself, yeah, the machines can do all that stuff, but man, you can't,
Yeah.
you know?
This is a very fair point. I'm not a huge fan of social media, but
Mhm.
I do like to follow some of the tech blogs. I do like to see, what these guys are up to. Some of the guys who are on the crazier end of the spectrum, like
Mm.
um, giving machines to an agent and having it run their entire lives. So I like to hear about everything that's going on.
There's no machine
um,
running my life. Come on.
right. But they're cool things, and I like to see that people are having lots and lots of fun. But
Mhm.
one thing that unsurprisingly continues to come up is people are staying up much longer than they should be at night because they're not getting off the train. They're not taking breaks. And
Yes.
I have a suspicion about why that is. When you can move fast and you know that other people have the same tools to move just as fast as you, and you see things as a sort of a competition where you're trying to put space between you and other people,
Mm.
um, getting off and taking breaks feels like you are ceding ground to the people who are trying to catch up.
Mm. And it's interesting, like we don't even have to go like, yeah, now it's even more accentuated because of the speed of things. But I remember, I don't remember where I saw that or where I read that, but the same thing about like people who are studying to get a degree or whatever. If
Hmm.
they're not studying, if you're just, taking too much time off or whatever, then somebody will say, well, the people who also want that position, they are studying. If they continue studying, they will get it. You will not.
That's right. And it is to use a word somewhat toxic because you don't
Mm-hmm.
ever have to see the person who's trying to catch up or whatever. You have to now imagine it. So even if you're in a room by yourself, you are imagining this boogeyman is what it really is at that point, who is
Yeah.
trying to, all right, if I slow down, that person's going to catch up. Never bothering to ask what happens when they catch up. Like, what if they get ahead? What happens then? Like,
Yeah.
do I lose everything I'm building? Whatever the extreme idea is.
Mm.
I don't think we're asking these questions, but I think the focus is on just moving fast. And it feels good, but I do agree. Just in my own experience of late nights being up and wanting to get one more feature done or one more thing done, it is not sustainable. It is not.
It is not.
It has
It is
impacted my
not.
sleep, and when you impact your sleep, you impact your health. And ultimately, the feature might be nice, but what price are you paying for it beyond
Yeah.
just the time? So, yeah.
Yeah. It's interesting that yeah, I know I have felt this a couple of months ago, and I've seen people online talking about this, like when we're feeling guilty if we don't see our agents busy doing something.
Yes.
Like, oh man, I have the machine power here. I have agents. Why are they not doing something?
Hmm.
And we feel guilty about it. It's like, no, no, wait a minute, man. It's not supposed to be like that. So I did hear this question a few days ago. I saw it like, well, what do you do? What do you, the human, do while
Yes.
your agents are busy swarming and doing things, right?
Yes.
And this is something that I noticed that I'm doing. Um, I take my human time to think through whatever it is that I need,
Hmm.
right? Or the people who are I'm serving. I have the time to communicate with the agent and say, okay, these are the things. Do you understand me? Let's have that conversation. Let's plan the thing. Okay, now you have enough to go and run for an hour, 30 minutes, 2 hours, depending on the size of the thing that I'm giving it. So what I've been doing is like, okay, I give that thing. Now I cannot just jump and keep doing that same thing, right? Or I may do like, okay, I spend like 30 minutes working this out to hand it off to some agents here. Now I'm going to spend another 30 for this. Then I need to take my break. It's like I cannot just keep going one after the other. Otherwise, at the end of the day, there will be like so many like different features and stuff that I'm not caught up with like actually running through all of that, seeing the different scenarios and the different things that it solves, so that at the end of the sprints, and I'm going to demonstrate that to the stakeholders, if I don't take my time, I'm going to go like, yeah, there's a lot of new stuff, guys,
Hmm.
but I don't even know how to to speak about it, how to structure the sprint review, because we have more than we ever have,
Yeah.
right? So I need to take my time. So something I've been noticing that I'm doing is, as I offload things to the AI for the agents to be busy, I'm getting meetings with improvers to discuss different things, different projects, different something that's completely disconnected from what I was doing. So I'm taking a break from that, right? I'm stepping away of whatever I'm doing, my comfort zone there, to go talk to other improvers about their problems, the things that they need some help with that hopefully I can help. So I've been getting like a lot done from that front as well, right? So we get the client work done plus the other things that we can do that we couldn't before because like I'm busy, I'm busy, I'm busy. Well, no, now my agents are busy.
I think what we'll begin to see, not just in our office, but in the industry at large, as these tools become more and more capable, is a lot less talk about tech and a lot more talk about philosophy.
Mm-hmm.
If if you've handed off some task to the agent, why are you still concerning yourself with the task that you're not doing? You've sent someone else to do it. Why don't you take your time to do something other than, babysit it or concern yourself with that task? Um, there are still ways we can monitor, and we've spoken about this earlier in the conversation, where
Mm-hmm.
we could be, logging its chain of thought and tying it to that task. And maybe that's a part of the final PR where we can inspect everything it was thinking about as it was working through these tasks.
Right.
And maybe the task is completed with perfection, but maybe some of the decisions that it made along the way are faulty. These are
Mm-hmm.
things that we don't have to be present for any of that. It's something that we can return to. But if we're going to be in office spaces with other human beings and we're going to be sending off agents to do tasks on our behalf, then we should be talking to the humans.
Yes. 100%. 100%. I've been seeing like me doing a lot of that. Maybe for the like that I'm aware and I'm deliberately doing this, maybe the last 2 months or so, where I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna put some meetings on my calendar to
Hmm.
be interacting with other improvers. And then when I plan out my day, it's like, okay, I have this meeting, so I'm gonna plan out my day so that say, like today we're meeting at 11.
Yep.
So I planned out in the morning so that, like half an hour before we got together here, I had the tasks and work cut out to the agents like, okay, you'll be doing those things while
I'll
I'm
see you when
doing
I
this,
get back.
right? Yeah,
Yeah.
that's exactly right. So by the time I get back, it's like, yep, things are there. And then what's my next step? I usually have written out like, okay, once that's done, what's the next thing I should be doing, type of thing. So yeah, very interesting. It's a different way to work and live, right?
If we choose for it to be,
True.
because we could take a very dark path as well, where it's like,
Hmm.
okay, you've spun up the agent, you've had it go and do a thing, and now you have freed up some time.
Hmm.
What should you be doing with that time? Some people might say you should be filling that time with trying to figure out the very next task, because
Hmm.
the value of these tools uh, is that we can get a lot more done in the same window of time that would have taken one human uh, to do the same work. But so you could see a situation where the human is just at their desk the entire time, not talking to other humans because they're just
Yeah.
finding the next thing, the next
Oh
thing, the
yeah.
next thing, the next thing. And that is one possibility of a world that we can march into.
Yeah.
I don't think that's the correct one, but I am not the one who gets to make that decision ultimately.
Well, you made the decision for
For
you, right?
myself, absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I am making the decision. Like it's I often talked about like how I like following or using the Pomodoro technique to take my 25 minutes of focus time, 5 minute, breaks, and then do that for 2 hours and then take a longer break. And when I told this to people in the past, they're like, well, but when you take that longer break, is that billable time? right? And it's like our stance is like, yes, it is,
Yeah.
right? Because you need that time to just like stretch your muscles, relax, hopefully internalize the work you've just done so that when you come back, you either improve it, the work you just done, or improve your process going forward. So while in the past, I would just like, unapologetically go for my 25, minute break, and then the computer would not be busy doing anything. Maybe it would be like busy running tests, for instance,
Hmm.
or something like that, but not building things. Nowadays, it's like, yeah, now it's busy building things. I'm gonna go take my break, take a walk without a plan. I just need to go out and take a walk. Because of the way our minds work, thoughts are gonna come up to the surface, and the ones that stick may be related to the thing that I was just doing or that I'm gonna do next. At that point, I record whatever those thoughts are. Because then when I make my way back to my desk, get the transcript and say, yeah, the thoughts that I came up with when I was walking, create some user stories out of that.
Yes.
Bam. So I got my relaxing time. I got to hear the birds outside and enjoy the weather when it's not, crazy hot here in Houston. And it was still productive time. I came
Yes.
back with better solution that will allow me to do more, but better. Not just do more, 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 but what you're doing, it's actually coming out better.
But that's the way it has to be framed for business. It's like I've gotten a perspective that I would not have been able to reach had I been sitting here at my desk the entire time.
Yep.
These ideas are a product of me taking the walk around the block, seeing
Mm-hmm.
things that I'm not seeing in this cold office. Like,
Yep. Yep. Comes back to communication, right? How do you communicate? Can you articulate how is that valuable to the
yes,
people, the groups involved?
but this requires the human to human conversations and us
Yep.
talking about it because I'm
Yep.
sure there will be, some feelings of guilt. Like, hey, I have sent off the swarm of agents to do the thing. They're doing
Mm-hmm.
it, and what am I supposed to be doing right now?
Mm-hmm.
And there are answers to this question.
Yeah.
And I think in a future AIR meeting, AI roundtable, we
Mm-hmm.
should maybe walk through this idea of, okay, we've arrived at work, we've, assembled some set of tasks that are long running that I don't have to babysit the agent while they're doing it. What do I
Mm.
do? What do I do next? What do we
Ooh.
do next?
Yeah. I'll throw some together like my experience. Like this is what I'm doing.
Yes.
I'll just document like this is what I'm doing during that time.
Hmm.
Right. So when you look at like man, from January 1st, I've been publishing one blog post every day, right? Just did the 50th today. It's like, where is that coming from,
Hmm.
right?
How
A
how
little
is
walk on
how
my
is he
break.
finding the time?
Yeah, like I have
Yes.
the same time as everybody. It's how I'm using my time,
Hmm.
right? I'm not finding time. I'm just proactively deciding what to do with my time, how I'm going to use that time. Like on a, I take a 20-minute walk around the block. If for 5 minutes I'm struck with this idea that I think, oh, I think that's something it's worth sharing. Voice it out for 5 minutes, pipe
Yep.
it through my workflow. Out comes a blog post. I refine it to my liking. Bam, done.
Nice.
Yeah. Hmm. Very nice.
I've got some ideas.
Okay.
I've got some ideas. But now that I'm back on the blog posting train and I feel good
Mhm.
about it, that was one of the reasons that I decided to write about that topic. It was something that
Nice.
was fresh, something that I just experienced, and it left a strong impression on me. So I was able to
Hmm.
think about it all the way home, walk around the kitchen, speak about it, and then
Yeah.
transform that into a blog post. But
Yeah.
I think that is one of the things that we could be doing, like more building in public during the
Hmm.
downtime.
Hmm. Yeah, that is it, man. That's the kind of stuff. Like this morning's post that I put out, it came straight out of like while my agents were busy a few days ago, I got together with an improver to help him with like testing praxis, TDD, BDD. We had a nice conversation, recorded everything,
Yep.
took that transcript and say, okay, pull up the guidance that I provided and let's cut a blog post out of that. Boom.
Nice.
Very cool. Yeah, and it's a oh yeah, on that note, another thing I took out of this last time we talked, you mentioned something about like if I am the kind of person who, maybe what I get out of the work I do is to, have people, look up to me, come up to me to ask questions so I can help them. Well, now they can ask Claude,
That's right.
right? Instead of ask Claudio. So I forgot to share the following thing. About 2 months ago, a node buddy of mine from the software community reached out and he said, yeah, so I have created in Claude a slash ask Claudio workflow. I'm like, wait, what? So what he did was, because I did tell, he attended one of my talks where I said,
Yeah.
well, to create some of my workflows, I use my own blog posts and I say, look at my blog post and create the guidance there, right? So he did
Hmm.
the same. He used Claude to go through my blogs, like all my blogs, and then he created this workflow that he points it at his code base, like, ask Claudio, what would Claudio think of my code base?
That
And he
is dope.
shared that with me. I looked through the markdown file. I'm like, oh yeah, that's so me. That is me. So that was really funny. So what I did, and I'm sharing, I'll send it to you as well. I have a notebook LM that I've loaded with a whole bunch of my content and stuff, and I'm sharing a link for people to just ask that, right? They
Hmm.
only have access to the sources. They cannot see the sources and stuff, but they can ask, like, what does Claudio think about this? What can Claudio help me with? And they'll say, hey, here are some things that Claudio might help you with.
Now, where this is going to get really interesting is, as people use this tool, they're going to come and have conversations with you, and they're going to compare notes.
Yeah.
They're going to compare notes, and that's going to be an interesting experiment. I want to see. I'm looking forward to the outcomes of that.
Yeah, yeah, I'll send you a link to this. Try it
Yeah.
out. See what you find there. Because, as I was testing it out, yeah, it would bring up stuff like, did I say that? But then it shows the citations
The
like, yeah,
source.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yes, that's right.
Mm,
And that's another thing. To wrap us up, I know we're a little bit over on time. It's like
sure.
the more that we capture what we've been dealing with on a day-to-day basis, even if it's week by week, some form of journaling, we're gonna forget some of the things, some of the positions, some of the thoughts that we've held.
Mm-hmm.
But those were snapshots in time that we can compare to
Yep.
now. So even if we forget, that doesn't mean that we never had them.
Yeah, yeah. The whole thing about spaced repetition, right?
Yeah.
We got access to that thing, but we didn't come back to it. We didn't come back to it. It just vanishes.
Yes.
Mm, love it. Love it. Any parting thoughts? Is this a good place to wrap up?
Parting thoughts. Have fun, but find ways to make that fun useful.
Yeah, there you go. I love that.
How about you?
Ditto.
What do you have for us?
Yeah, no, I like that. That's the like, yeah, I like having fun. I enjoy seeing people have fun, right? I've mentioned that before. Like, I enjoy like with music. I like watching musicians that you can clearly see they're having a blast,
Hmm.
right, performing. I like that, and they're making something useful out of it. They're not just like playing music to have fun. They're actually making something that makes them feel good, but it also makes us feel good. So with all this fun that we're having with all these tools, so we're having fun, great. Are
Yeah.
we allowing others to partake into that fun?
Are we forming a band?
Are we
Um,
forming the band?
I have one prediction, parting prediction. I
Okay.
think we're going to see a resurgence of instruments coming into the office. So right now we have one guitar in the office. You have it.
Yeah,
Um,
right there.
right over there. We can't see it, but it's there. Trust us.
Yeah.
I predict, and we're going to see this. We're going to start to see blog posts about it, etc. We're going to start to see a resurgence of instruments in the office.
Ooh. Yeah,
Yes,
I like that.
people who have never picked up a guitar. We're going to see instruments in the office because
Mm.
as people start to have like these questions, crises of identity, they're going to want to gravitate towards things that showcase their human abilities.
I like it. Oh, now with that, now you gave me another idea, Matthew. Gonna have to get people used to having this idea of like, okay, you're gonna plan breaks where we humans are taking breaks to go do something while our agents are
Yeah.
working, and that do something could be like playing some instruments, playing ping pong,
Yes.
right?
Doing something that AI cannot do yet.
Oh, love it.
Yes.
Love it. Very nice. That's a nice seed to drop
Oh
and
yeah.
let it. Very cool. Well, always a pleasure, Matthew. And
Always.
I
Look
hope
forward to seeing you again in the human form.
absolutely get well soon.
Thank you, sir.
All right. Bye.
Later.